Happy Friday, lovely. I hope you all had a great week and happy eclipse. It's 11:11 a.m. literally as I am speaking. I just looked at the clock. So make a wish, make a wish. I feel like that's a good sign as we head into this weekend, as we, navigate through eclipse season and as we navigate through this day. I know that I've been pretty absent when it comes to uploading this week. What's interesting? So like I usually do a reading for myself at the top of the week. I started doing that again. There I went a while where I just kind of was, moving on faith and just trusting that, whatever comes to me, I will know how to discerningly respond, But I started, giving myself like a weekly pull. And I usually pull from my universal wisdom oracle cards, which kind of has like its pre-written messages, and then I'll do like a tarot reading. And this week I did get like, to rest. I did get that I would not be seen as much, or there would not be a need for me to be seen as much. So it's just interesting how spirit works, because I have been fighting a cold. It's not like a sneezing and coughing and runny nose type of cold. I kind of felt like I was coming down with the flu, because on Tuesday I woke up and my body was just aching. And right now we're in this period where we'll have a hot day, then we'll have a cool day. We'll have a hot day and then we'll have a cool day. So the way my apartment is set up, I have my AC in my window. And what I'll do is, like, when it's a cool day, I'll just put it out on the fire escape. And then when it's hot, I'll let it run. So it's just been on the fire escape because that's easiest for me, where I could just like pop it in and pop it out. But you could even hear it in my voice. The main thing that's bothering me is my throat. I'm literally holding on to my throat chakra as I do this video. The main thing that's bothering me is my throat. So this video may not be too long, because I already feel myself somewhat straining, despite the hot, concoction I've been sipping on. So yeah, hit the thumbs up. Make sure you comment below and let me know what you think. If you want to donate, my Cash App is on the screen. That would be greatly appreciated. If you want to book a session with me, my email and my booking site is pinned in the comments, as well as the description box. And just, a life update. First and foremost, we have a lovely who's going to court today. They're going to trial. They've been trying to detach themselves from a domestic violence relationship and an abusive relationship. And they have successfully been, detached from this person for quite some time now. But they share custody. And I'm just asking that y'all put some positive energy up in the air for that person, and just call on, your higher self to manifest for this person that they have a favorable outcome. And or no matter what the outcome is, they understand that, favor is still on their side, even if it doesn't feel that way. Because that's what life is about, right? Um learning how to program yourself to detach from certain expectations, and minimizing your suffering by just learning how to flow and glow. And that takes time. And even when you make strides, or you get to a place where you feel like you have mastery, you still have to continue to give yourself grace, and you still have to understand that this whole thing, living life, it's a learning experience. For people that's into human design, most of the population are manifesting generators. Um, and it's very interesting, because the main thing of being an MG is to understand that you're literally meant to learn from your mistakes, like through trial and error. So if you are someone, because like I said, most of the population is MGs, that you haven't started something because you feel like you need to be perfect or you need to be whole before you arrive, just start. Just start, because the things that you're going to learn along the way, that's going to continue to add to your wholeness and your oneness once you arrive where you would like to arrive. And I know it sounds cliche, nobody wants to hear that. You know, we live in the microwave society where overnight success is constantly perpetuated, which creates this sense of stress in us where we feel like we're not doing enough or we feel like we need to do more. But this is why I always encourage y'all to look within, and to seek something that is not of the physical world, that is not of the material world. Because I'm going to tell you time and time again from firsthand experience and from having a very close proximity to people's firsthand experience. The cars, the title at work, the spouse, the body, the clothes, the jewelry, the trips, the food, whatever it is that you are seeking to have in your life in an abundant way, because you feel like once you have that, you'll be set. Don't set yourself up for disappointment. And don't set yourself up to become a hamster on the wheel. Everyone, including myself, we are all striving towards contentment. We think we're striving towards happiness, but feelings are fleeting. Happiness is a fleeting feeling. I suggest you strive towards contentment. It's nothing wrong with being intentional about wanting joy and happiness and bliss and pleasure. But to think that that's what your life is supposed to feel and look like all the time is dangerous to your psyche and your well-being, because you're chasing a goal that's just unrealistic. And it's counterintuitive to you learning to just be, and then learning how to be content within just being. And just because if this is speaking to you, because I feel like I'm speaking to someone out there, just because you don't know where to start in this moment, just because you don't know how to start, it does not mean that you still can't set an intention and say, you know what, from today on out, I'm going to work on really believing that I am whole, I am enough, and everything that I'm seeking outside of me is actually something that my higher self is trying to nudge me to go within and seek within me. And that's it. Just put the intention out there if this resonates with you, and then pay attention for opportunities to make good on that intention. You just got to have a consistent willingness. So that is that. And last but not least, your girl started class yesterday. So I'm officially in my last year of my master's. I have been on a medical leave since my father passed in October of 2022, and I am officially back. 16 credits. I like my schedule. All of my classes are on a Thursday, 2 of them online, and then 1 in person, which is not too bad. And then my internship is being done where I was working full time as a social worker this summer. The only toss up is I can't get no money there while I'm getting my internship, but once I get my master's, we'll see what God has for me. So I'm just very happy about that. I was a little intimidated getting back into it, but to be honest, more so excited than intimidated. Um, but yeah, I really just feel like things are really coming together. And yeah, so your girl is back in school. But don't worry, because I still have, as of right now, to my knowledge, Mondays and Wednesdays off. So we good. And I also tried something new this semester. I signed up for this elective. And it's like from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. It meets 4 times in the semester. The class doesn't start until November. And you meet one time in person, and then the other 3 times is online. And it's literally 2 weekends, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. And then you get the credits. So I'll let y'all know how that goes as well. Okay, I hope again, you all have had um a great week. If not, that's okay too. I'm wishing y'all and sending y'all good intentions and good energy as you go into the weekend. We're about to start into the hot topics. Once again, if you would like to book a session with me, that is pinned in the comments, the link, as well as my email. And if you just want to donate and show me some love, my Cash App is on the screen. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first topic I want to talk about, Dawn Richards. I was going to say Richardson, but I'm looking at it right now. Dawn Richard, she filed a lawsuit against Diddy. Now, I'm looking at it. I have the lawsuit up. She filed against everybody, honey. Sean Combs, Harvey Pierre, Remote Productions Inc., Bad Boy Productions, Bad Boy Entertainment, Ciroc. So she sued everything. She gonna make sure she get her a piece of change. Okay. She said, "Baby, just put everything that's connected to that MF or that we know of." Because I'm sure, people like Diddy, in my opinion, and once again, this is just my opinion, those be the people that got the offshore accounts and shit. You know what I mean? Those be the people that got a 20, pinned to their bra somewhere. But this is my thing. I haven't had a chance for my personal viewing to read through it. Like with Cassie's, I actually sat down and read through it. I've been very busy trying to get back into school. Like that was something that was about 3 weeks in the making. And I really owe it to my supervisor at the job I was working my full-time social work job at, because she was the one that pushed me to go back. She's like, "You have one more year. We're floating your name for a full-time social work position. Please go back and get your master's." And even though I couldn't get the position because I don't have my master's as of yet, the fact that they want me to do my internship there, the writing is on the wall. But God is in charge. God is in charge. I'm not going to get attached to the outcome. I'm just going to stay attached to the fact that no matter what, I will be more than okay and my cup will run this over. Um, but yeah, I just been busy with that. So when it comes to this Dawn Richard lawsuit, and it's only 55 pages, I'll probably read it after the fact. I haven't had a chance to read it, but I did listen to certain, commentators such as Impressive and Tisa Tells and whatnot. And they usually do good with accuracy, so I don't have an issue quoting them. I'm gonna show you something I tweeted actually. What did I tweet? And be sure to hit the thumbs up, y'all. Hit the thumbs up. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So like I said, when this came out, because it dropped on 9/11, so 2 days ago, I said, "Is she the group member who always prided herself on remaining loyal to him? This is really sad. A lot of these women be groomed under the guise of being given an opportunity to pursue their anointings." And let's just stay on that real quick. I was sitting and really thinking about this because there was a story where, allegedly, and I'm only saying allegedly because I wasn't there, just, for professional purposes, but I believe her. Allegedly, she was locked in a car for 2 hours and she had to call her dad to rescue her. And when her dad went to confront, you know, P. Diddy, allegedly, Diddy said something like, "Think about your daughter's career." Pretty much insinuating that if you try to come after me, your daughter won't have a career. So let's put a pin right there. Let's put a pin right there. I'm asking God in this moment, and I pray this privately, but I'm going to pray this with y'all. And I want this for everyone. I want us, specifically as Black people, specifically as Black women, to learn how to be disliked, to learn how to allow people to believe that they have more dominion than they actually do, while keeping our distance and allowing them to see our back and our ass as we walk out the door. What do I always suggest? If God brings you to a room and sits you at a table And in order to stay in that room and to keep your seat at that table, you have to move closer to forces that are not of God and further away from your authentic self, which is strictly from God. That room may not be for you anymore. That seat at that table may not be for you anymore. You will never have to intentionally and consciously betray yourself in an effort to pursue opportunities that's supposed to give you, an experience to show what you've been anointed with. I remember Dawn Richards talking about how when she signed to Bad Boy, even after Danity Kane, dissembled and whatnot, and everybody went their own way. And, she has her own eclectic type of style of music. She's an independent artist, but at this time she was still signed with Bad Boy. And Diddy said, nobody will understand. I want you to be more like Keisha Cole and Mary J. Blige. And I really sat with this and I'm like, okay, life is, like I just said, right? Trial and error. The first 30 years, in my opinion, is literally, if you're blessed enough to continue living, is a rite of passage to the rest of your life, because you have so many experiences that give you an opportunity to learn yourself in very intimate ways. But of course, nothing is never that black and white. We get distracted. What are distractions? We fall in love. We start chasing, career success, money success. We have kids. Our parents may die. We get an education. And sometimes the praise and the worship and the dedication and the consistency that we give to those things, we forget to give to ourselves first and foremost. Forgetting and not realizing that if we can't give that same consistent willingness and intention to be on beast mode when it comes to standing on the business of who you are, learning how to posture your heart while remaining who you are, learning how to advocate for who you are, and learning how to remove yourself from places that threaten who you are. We forget to invest in that journey. I say it all the time, especially with us Black women. We real good at building upward mobility in the physical world. Degrees, LLCs, successful companies, partner in corporate America, doing the damn thing as an entrepreneur. We really good at that. But when it comes to our mental, emotional, and spiritual upward mobility, because it has not been told to us that that's just as valuable, and most of us just do and go with what society says this is going to make you valuable, we don't even think to stop and slow down long enough and invest in that part until something earth-shattering, life-altering happens, and then we have no choice but to start back from ground zero. And even then, there's a buffer because most people don't take that opportunity. They walk around feeling sorry for themselves. They walk around with resentment. They learn how to lie and perpetuate that they're more okay than what they actually are. And see, when you stay on that frequency and vibrate on the frequency of deception, dishonesty, inauthenticity, how is the higher power that you believe in going to keep his hands on you and order your steps and get to you? When consciously you're making decisions to not stand in who you were made to be to begin with. And that's most people. Why? Because we are conditioned that not to look within for the answers, but to look outside of us. And I really think it starts at home, especially when it comes to Black family dynamics. Because every time you try to assert yourself or show, step into your own autonomy in the Black household and really try to assert yourself and say, no, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm about, so on and so forth. What do you have? Oh, you being disrespectful because I said so. Well, you don't pay no bills in here. Honor thy mother, because they love to pull out the Bible. Honor thy mother and thy father, and your days will be long and blessed. And so on and so forth. And as someone who intentionally and actively broke away from that, I have so much compassion and empathy, because it shouldn't be as hard, as gut-wrenching, and as traumatizing as it is to just stand in your authenticity. But it is. And I pray and ask God, please anoint my heart and please anoint my throat chakra to have as much compassion and empathy that that I can, exude and transcend when I'm talking about these topics. Because there is a part of me where, yes, everyone is their own person and everyone ain't Aaliyah, everybody ain't Queen Lovely. In addition to that, when you are someone that's majority had to stand by yourself, and you can't think of a time where somebody really came in and advocated for you from an unconditional place without no strings attached, you empathize when you hear these stories. In addition to that, life is hard. It's hard to run with the crowd and be abused, and it's hard to be abused by the crowd because you won't run with them. And then you gotta limp, sometimes even crawl your way up out of that shit. So you dealing with the pain of when you was with the crowd trying to get your respect, and then on top of that, you dealing with the pain of detaching from the crowd so that you can maintain your respect. It is hard either way. Life is about choosing your hard. It's gonna be hard to possibly get blacklisted and not be able, you may feel like, damn, I may get blacklisted from working in the industry, and I may miss an opportunity to hit red carpets and perform on main stages. But is it worth your soul? Is it worth ignoring the contract that your soul agreed to? Because we have been conditioned to allow ourselves to be distracted by the things that dangle in front of us. Everything that glitters is not gold. And I just feel like, again, it goes back to the conditioning at home. If you are not given an opportunity to be independent and have a sense of autonomy in the home, I can completely understand how that could trickle down as you go out into the world. And I think what's also alarming and frightening, but I'm not surprised by it, because this is how people like Diddy are able to go on and continue doing what they're doing. You sat there and witnessed. You sat there and witnessed that. But then you continue to go in interviews and talk about how loyal you are and how good of a person he is, and so on and so forth. I feel like those are choices. I feel like those are choices. And I think, again, I just laid it out, right? From my perspective and my opinion, why people behave the way they do. But that's a choice. That's a choice. Everybody, thinks God and believes in God until it's time to really believe in God. And thank God that you believe in God. It's a certain level a maturity on an emotional, mental, and spiritual level that you have to be able to truly learn how to surrender and let go and trust. That doesn't mean that you won't go through all the emotions that comes with choosing you. Remember, we're not taught, especially as women, especially as Black women, we are not taught to choose ourselves. We're taught to choose everyone else. And by way of choosing everyone else and being there for everyone else, one day it will come back to you. This is how resentment starts, because you trick yourself into believing that you're okay with being the person that always shows up, right? I always show up for everyone. I done gotten out my bed at 3 a.m. and jumped in my car and whatnot. But again, when life really smacks you and knocks you down, and it's not no frivolous shit, some real life altering shit, and you see that those same people that you've been there for you are not there for you, that'll learn you. That'll learn you. It don't make no sense to be well behaved for the sense of covering up somebody's misbehavement. Absolutely not. And I hate that for women. I really do. I can't stand that. But everyone has their own process, and this is Dawn's. But the only way you break out of that, you have to be accountable about the part you play in it. You sitting at dinner and you watch Cassie get punched, and Usher, I think she said Jimmy Iovine, and there was one other person there that she said, and Neo just kept eating. It's supposedly Dawn and Kalina have tried to tell her to leave, but of course, they gonna have to want to leave on their own time. Because allegedly she was making eggs, and Diddy said, I'm tired of you getting it wrong, and threw the scalding eggs on her. I'ma just say it. Everyone is built different, because I just think back to my experience at the Breakfast Club and how I did not like the way I seen Charlemagne and gang up against Angela Yee to the point where she's on the brink of tears. And immediately, because of the person I am and because of what I believe in, I no longer was interested. I'm told that an executive at a record company that you're sending me to go interview to be their assistant for likes to do weird things with women, and I need to use discretion. I am no longer interested, because that literally is threatening to contradict how God has anointed me to show up. And I don't have money at the time when I'm walking away from these opportunities. I'm subleasing the room in Brownsville, right off of Sutter Avenue. So it just gets tricky for me. It gets tricky for me when I discuss these topics, because I've done it with less on the outside. I've done it with less resources externally. You see that? Because I've always been someone that while I'm studying abroad, I'm getting an internship at the Breakfast Club, I'm walking dogs, I'm working at the library, I'm getting my bachelor's from Brooklyn College in TV radio production. In the midst of that, I'm also in therapy, momentum education, a life development course. I'm reading books and really learning, like, who am I? Who am I? Because I know that all of these things are not supposed to make me who I am. We have to learn how to quit. It's very important to learn how to quit. It's very important to know when to hold it and fold it and to be like, you know what, this ain't even worth fighting for anymore. Because the longer you stay in any situation that's not in alignment for you, the harder it is for you to leave. So I hope Dawn Richard gets whatever it is she's asking for. Like I said, I didn't read the full lawsuit as of yet, but yeah, those are my thoughts. The same way when Diddy's cousin, who was supposedly Kim Porter's best friend, came out and said she was never writing a book, and then Misa Hilton and Tamika Mallory jump in the comments co-signing. Y'all know exactly what it is. Y'all just don't think it's any better, and that's okay. Y'all weigh your options and decide, I'd rather be in proximity to a violent, psychopathic abuser and get what I can get off of that than to be on the outside looking in. It's the mean girls effect. It's better to be in the plastics and be mistreated than to be on the outside looking in. Because you get addicted to that narcissistic discarding supply thing where it's like they pumping you up, and then they drop you so low, and then you think, oh shit, I gotta work to get back in their good graces. You were never in their good graces to begin with. They don't have any. They were just pretending. They were acting. I don't think a lot of us really sit down and learn how to truly cultivate God from within and believe. I don't think we do, because the world would look very different. I think a lot of us are exhausted. We are beaten down. We are tired. There isn't proper resources, consistent resources to really help us, attune to what's going on in our mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I think we just learn to be on autopilot. Hell, the woman that told me I was too contagious to go to my mother's funeral, every time you put a plate of food in front of her, no matter where she's at, she'll pray. She'll pray. She'll pray. And one day we was at Red Lobster. She go, oh, you're not going to pray? I'm like, nah. Oh, I'm surprised because you so spiritual. That don't mean anything. Just because my spirituality doesn't look like yours, it doesn't mean yours is better. Ooh, you pray over your food, but then you turn around and tell your goddaughter she's too contagious to go to her mother's funeral and take $1,500. You see what I mean? And it's not to say that to believe in something, you're not going to fall short. That's not what I'm saying. But you have a lot of people that just mimic. It's like this sociopathic energy where you don't know how to, but you are capable of. So there is this fine line between mimicking and the capability, because it's there. Whereas with a psychopath, you're born, like literally born without the ability to empathize. Sociopath, something happens, your societal experiences makes you someone that is more apathetic than empathetic. Makes you someone that has that avoidant attachment energy. You have an inability to be intimate with others and so on and so forth. So I suggest I'm sipping on my tea. My throat. I suggest that people get back to learning how to stop pretending and performing and to actually cultivate that from within. So yeah, wish everyone the best luck. The next thing I wanted to talk about is this Super Bowl situation. So here's my thing. First and foremost, congratulations to Kendrick Lamar. I personally don't have an issue with Kendrick Lamar headlining because he has had a really good year and he's an amazing performer. This will be his second time on the Super Bowl stage because He did the Super Bowl a few years back when Dr. Dre did that whole California set, which also included Mary J. Blige, who's from Yonkers, Eminem, who's from Detroit, I think he's from Detroit, and 50 Cent, who's from New York. The West Coast natives that was up there was Dre, Snoop, and Kendrick Lamar. Know the game. Because you know the game was mad. Mr. JC honey, go pay Priscilla and get ready to pay Shanice too, because she is her mother's child. Um yeah, so I don't have an issue with Kendrick Lamar um headlining the Super Bowl. I really don't. Again, I am tired of us as a society putting people on pedestals to the point where it's like you'll defend this tooth and nail, but themes and energies that really, really matter, you won't even give it a second thought or a look. Um there have been multiple acts before at the Super Bowl. I think back to like when Coldplay, Bruno Mars, and Beyonce did something together. Um, I think at minimum, Kendrick Lamar can headline, but they could have did an announcement where they said, and we will also have Lil Wayne do a New Orleans tribute melody, and then have them bring out some rappers, Juvenile and them, and do a little set. And I think the thing that really turned me off about this situation is when people's like, oh, Lil Wayne is a whole drug addict. So let's talk about that. Drug addiction is a disease. That's number one. Number two, Rihanna literally stood in place and let the backtrack carry her while her backup dancers or whatever the hell they was doing frolicked around on that stage. Her performance was very lackluster. Pregnant and all, her performance was very lackluster. Rihanna has never had a major stage presence. Never had a major stage presence. I will never forget when I was in college, my homegirls went to see the concert, and they was like beautiful gowns. So stop acting like that. Like, I just feel like Beyonce and Jay-Z have a hold on a lot of people in the Black community because a lot of people think one day that's going to be them. And again, it just is what it is. Like, I don't even really have much to say because I just don't even feel like getting into it. But I personally don't have an issue with Kendrick Lamar headlining. It's unfortunate that Lil Wayne is a living legend and icon. And somebody left a comment and said that this will also be like 20 years since, Hurricane Katrina. And that this was just a missed opportunity to really give New Orleans its just due. And I agree with that. And y'all keep saying, oh, it's been in New Orleans 10 times. But how many times has it been in NOLA since Jay-Z signed that 5-year contract, which gives him a lot of creative control and pull over that halftime show? Hence why Eminem had to put his foot down and say, y'all want me to be on that stage so bad? I will not be on that stage unless 50 Cent is there. That's how you use your white privilege. That is how you use your white privilege. Because they needed somebody on that stage to appeal. Because remember, football is the all-American sport. They needed somebody on that stage to appeal. But Eminem is also fucking Eminem. And Eminem and Dre, it's like fucking peanut butter and jelly. Like, it goes together. You understand? So he said he would not get on that stage unless Fifth was on that stage, because him and Fifth have that rapport together, because Jay-Z didn't want 50 Cent on that stage. Jay-Z is a bitch ass nigga. Okay, and I said it and I'll say it here. He is a bitch ass nigga. And the reason why Jay-Z's a bitch ass nigga is because Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You got a whole exhibit in Brooklyn called the Book of Hove, like you truly a fucking god, and everybody has to kneel before you. Well, nigga, give us something to kneel before. Because to truly be of that high ascension, you should always have the ability, or a majority of the time have the ability, to operate from objectivity. And that's one thing I do agree with that Nikki said, but she also needs to take her own advice. As much money, wealth, success, resources, and access as you have, the fact that you still feel the need to be petty, that speaks to how spiritually bankrupt and in poverty you are. I say this stuff all the time, and I get it. When you've been living a certain way for so long, it's very hard to step outside of yourself and see the forest from the trees. That's just part of being human. But you can't, and I say this all the time, you can't have it both ways. It can't be a thing where it's like, don't question us, don't challenge us, bow down to us, but then you getting down in the mud as if you with the general public yourself. I've been peeping the things that Beyonce and Jay-Z's been doing, per my opinion. It's not lost on me that y'all was radio silent, ain't have nothing to say when all this Diddy stuff is happening. 50 Cent goes down to Louisiana, brings out a lot of heavy hitters. And then all of a sudden, y'all outside at pop-up shops and shit, and Beyonce putting out liquor and whiskey. It don't even make any sense. And stop pushing Megan Thee Stallion down our throats and trying to act like her and Beyonce are besties. Beyonce said, my favorite artist is Doechii. Doechii and Glorilla. And nothing from Megan Thee Stallion. You go Glen Coco, you go Glen Coco, and nothing for Gretchen Wiener. Like, stop playing with us. Stop playing with us. Oh my God, baby, when them nodes switch to Pisces in January, this will be the beginning of the fucking end. If you got Pisces and Virgo placements and you ain't been living right, you better start getting right now. Shit, and this is actually the perfect time. Friday the 13th is the day of the divine feminine. We have an eclipse in Pisces on Monday, and that's going to be ushering in the energy that we will be in for the next year and a half, starting in January of 2025. Almost there, almost done. But yeah, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of all these demigods acting like somebody got to bow down to them, and then people talking about, oh, Nick, and see, I used to be the same way. Oh, Nick, you should da da da. But no, fuck it. Because why are we even participating in this idea where we shouldn't speak up or step up because of somebody who shits and bleeds like us? If I can't be my authentic self and advocate for what I know is right and be who I am, and if you bypass giving me an opportunity to make right on something you perceive to be wrong, it wasn't right to begin with. Remember that, because that is how a lot of people get stuck in people pleasing. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you. That doesn't mean that you are never incorrect. It doesn't mean that you are above reproach. It doesn't mean that you can't learn how to say something different or move differently so that you're not harming. But when you're doing something like just advocating, just being yourself, you may be somebody who's just loud and always laughing and real joyful. And then let's say you go around someone and you could just tell they don't like it. That's okay. They have the right to be who they are. Now remove yourself so you can continue to be who you are and do what you want to do. And that's what I don't like, because everybody feeds into that. Oh, I gotta sit up straight because mass are coming and da 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 da, and it's just ridiculous. It's just beyond ridiculous. And speaking of that, I'm very indifferent to Kendrick Lamar as a musician, as a person, but there's something about him that I just don't really care for. It's something about him, like, you're anti-establishment to an extent and you're popping shit, but then I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's like you being buddy buddy with somebody like Beyonce and Jay-Z, but then claiming that you're against everything that they stand for and represent. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And I don't have an issue with it, because with Kendrick Lamar, I just get that he's playing the game very well. He's doing just enough so that he can maintain the sense of neutrality. In the black community, when it comes to, the hip hop lovers and shit, it's like he's the fucking black messiah, but then you're also the industry darling. It's just very interesting. It's very interesting. And it will also be interesting, since everybody's doing the Drake is over party. Well, let's see if Kendrick could carry like Drake has. Let's see. Let's see if he could carry. And my thing is, you spoke out and said that what Colin Kaepernick was doing when he was nailing was something very important for my generation and the generations below me to see, behind me to see. But now you're going to get on the stage? Are you going to nail? That's interesting. That's very interesting. So yeah, it just is what it is. It is what it is. Um, yeah. So that's it. There really wasn't nothing else that went on this week. We had the VMAs, but I didn't watch it. I didn't pay attention. I did see Megan's performance. I expected way more from her, especially when it came to the Mamushi. I feel like she could have gave more. But yeah, that's just it. So y'all have a good day, good weekend, and yeah, love y'all. Bye.